On paper, Panic's Playdate doesn't have a lot to do with PC. It's a standalone handheld console that fits into the palm of your hand and is controlled via a D-pad, two face buttons, and its unique standout feature, the crank. But inside the stinky yellow wafer, the spirit of PC gaming has never been stronger. It's there in its eclectic first season of indie games, a series of 24 titles that not only delight in the minutiae of its hardware, but are delivered weekly for free in batches of 2 direct to your console over Wi-Fi. It's there in the openness of the Playdate ecosystem too, where you can make your own Playdate games in its browser-based pulp creation tool. Download the source code, share it with friends, and sideload it onto your Playdate all in a matter of minutes. Panic have even added the ability to stream from it, capture video and screenshots from it, and hook it up to an external monitor, keyboard, or controller via its Playdate Mirror app. So how is it? Fun and weird, like an indie game or film that asks you to engage on its own terms. The Playdate is its own thing, and comparing it to other devices isn't really productive. First, the device itself. It's button cute, banana yellow and posted small. Panic and their partners at Teenage Engineering really nailed the look and feel. On it you'll find a directional pad, and B buttons, menu and power buttons, and of course the famous crank. The D-pad is a little soft but works fine. The main buttons are pleasant to use, and when gripped like a traditional handheld, it is quite comfortable even for medium-large hands like my own. I wouldn't want to play for hours at a time, but that's not the intent here. The crank has a lovely smooth feel to it, and it's remarkably precise in games that use it, giving an almost analog level of precision. There's enough friction that you never move it more or less than you want, but it's easy enough to spin that you can do full loops without any trouble. The 400 by 240 screen is a mixed bag. With no backlight, you're reliant on ambient light to see it, but since it's glossy, you end up with reflections of the window or lamp, if it's in the best position. I've played plenty without cursing or being really bothered by this, but there's definitely some level of okay, I need to swivel my chair and hold it here. Now tilt it perfect, so you get in that sweet spot. Those idiosyncrasies aside, the graphics are sharp, fun and quite expressive. Every developer has found different ways to make the 1-bit look work, with an overall aesthetic like that of old Mac classic games. If you were worried everything would be stick figures and text, be assured there's plenty of creativity and fun on display here. And they all play fluidly and responsively. The sound is also quite good. The graphics make you expect the kind of beepy fare we got back in the old Mac days. But there's great, modern sounding music and sound for each game. For some the sound is inextricable from the gameplay, like one where you have to match short music clips to each other. I wouldn't go through the whole list. Part of the fun is waking up, seeing new game available, and then checking it out while you sip your hot morning drink of choice. But it's fair to say that sometimes you'll be pleasantly surprised and engaged on and off all week, while other times you'll be like, wait, one of the first games to be unlocked, Casual Birder, is my jam. It's a weird little RPG filled with charming interactions, and a bunch of birds to take pictures of. You focus with the crank, while framing with the D-pad, but it makes things feel pleasantly frantic as you track a flying bird to its nest, rather than frustrating. Another I liked a lot is Flipper Lifter, where the crank controls the position of an elevator that penguins line up to use, and they're really in a hurry. My god. When I unwrapped it, I intended to just try it very quickly, to get a sense of how it controlled, and ended up playing for 20 minutes straight, because it felt so right. And that was just on the first level. Definitely my jam. What's conspicuously absent is any kind of traditional Mario Kirby Gradius style action or platforming game. There are a few focused on reflexes and positioning, but for the most part these are a bit more funky and slower paced. I can't wait to spend more time with some of the RPG type games. Playdate's main value proposition is the 24 games you'll get in the first season, and for some, that and the uniqueness of it all justified the $180 price point. But the idea is that Playdate will be supported beyond now, first of all with the probable second season of games for sale as a bundle. More immediately there is the Pulp Game Creator, which I did not even attempt to try, but which could be a source of many a non-official game. Other dev methods are supported as well. This is just their own platform. It's easy to sideload these via the SDK and simulator, slightly more involved than dragging and dropping, but not much. The hope is that the Playdate could become a mini scene for indie game devs looking for a built-in audience, sort of like the Pico 8 community. How I wish I had a real Pico 8. Well, I wouldn't expect the next Elden Ring to come out on this handheld. It's entirely possible that quite a few fun games will be made or ported to the platform. Is this all enough for you to pay $180 for a Playdate? Well, the fact is most people smash that pre-order button more or less sight unseen because they love the idea so much. I would say that you're probably already either into it or not, but if my opinion carries any weight here and you're undecided, I'd say maybe wait a couple months to see how the first season of games is received and whether the community starts pumping out fun new experiences. I suspect that the Playdate will eventually more than justify itself, but caution is understandable given the surprise nature of the games. In its current state, the Playdate is a somewhat expensive but definitely one-of-a-kind experience, one that is clearly attractive to many people, but the charm of which may elude others. In a few months, when more games, accessories and other pluses have rolled out, that equation will likely only change for the better. I hope this video was useful and interesting for you. Don't forget to hit the like button, have a nice day, and see you soon.